Hello, everybody. We are back again for potentially maybe the last series this year. I'm not sure if we're going to do one next Thursday, which is Christmas Eve, which would be.
I think no.
So we will fuck it off for the rest of the year after this one.
I've been fucking off for a while.
I've just been playing with myself.
Show them your tool.
Oh, come on, man. At least let me just before we start talking about tools, guys.
Mike reveals his tool.
This is more like it.
Oh, man.
Long and thin.
You can see these guys need a rain put on them. But before we go into the dirty talk, we are sponsored by...
Speaking of dirty talk, what's behind you, Alex?
Yeah.
What? Did you empty out your car?
Which bit? All my presents?
Yeah. Is that what that is?
Presents? We got to go back to ODYS over there, though.
Yeah, ODYS is what everyone's getting for Christmas.
Right there.
I got a TV there.
TV's good.
And then I don't know, mate. It's just my room. It's just needs tidy.
I've got the children's books.
But yeah, ODYS before Mike passes out there. If you're looking for age domains, check out odys.cc and they can give you $100 if you sign up through that affiliate link. If you're going to be like Corey Rose and don't go through that link, they just don't let you have an account. So go through that link if you want.
No, it's true.
And that is
honestly, for a long time, they haven't let anyone. I've seen, like, even when I first was talking to them, they're like, well, yeah, go through the application process, you douche. You know, and I think I'm special and shit, and I'm not.
Well, you're special, but it's not like that.
Yeah, you're special.
I'm not special. So who's got 50K subscribers, dude?
Yeah, must be one of you guys. Nah, 50K now. Thank you, everyone who has. It's been a fucking long slog, but hey ho, we got there in the end. So
50.2.
Is that your blush?
Yeah.
50.2. That's pretty good.
50.2, yeah. It's going up. It's starting to pick up a bit of pace now. I think that getting to 50K is the hardest part. I think after that, it should hopefully get a bit easier. But
it's like money, right?
I wish it was.
Charlie Munger said, I think it was Munger that said it. The hardest thing to do is get to that first 100K. Then after that, it gets easier and easier.
Well, that 1,000 real subscribers you have is awesome, bro.
Yeah, thank you for the 49.2 fakers out there. I appreciate it very much. But that's been a year, probably a year of hard work. 400 plus videos.
You've been going at it hard.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard, but obviously with the helps of you guys and dragging in other guests.
Yeah, we'll pretend it's all us.
Yeah. It exploded once you started bringing my ugly mug on. You know,
the conversion.
I got to tune in to see what the hell this caveman that can barely spit out a sentence says this week.
SEO Power Suite. That's a good question. I remembered there is a tool in there that I do like, and I can't remember what tool it was. Let me look real quick because I have used something.
Scrapebox a lot lately.
Scrapebox is a great tool.
Is it Link Assistant?
Link Assistant is actually solid. I think we were running our DA analysis and stuff back in the day with that is what I was thinking of. I think that was it. Right, Alex?
I use the ranking tool because it does all the local maps for all the different areas. It's really cool.
So yeah, 75% off today. That's a great. Thanks for letting people know, man, because that is a decent deal. If people don't have a solution, maybe this is a solution for them. Is it still desktop though? That's the only problem I had with it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of desktop software, but there was a time where I used it exclusively when I worked.
I've worked for a long time.
Yeah, no, I think, James, I think it's probably worth it if you don't have, I mean, if you have something, don't buy it just because, don't go shiny object on it. But if you need something in there, if it's 75% off, it's probably the day to buy it then.
What's it do with maps?
Well, you can target the geo-specific areas and cities. So you can have a project for like in London, you've got all the boroughs of London.
Yeah.
You can just have, let's say you've got a G&B for every borough of London. You can actually just have the rankings for that specific area.
Okay, I got you.
He's a groundhog. That's why he's talking about boroughs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like the other maps product that Jordan released.
GeoMappy.
Yeah, which had the dots everywhere. It's not
Yeah,
like
that's like
that's Thomas's
Local Falcon and shit like that too.
This one just shows you like typical rankings, just normal. The way I like it.
Is that a sad face or a happy face there, Paul? I'm confused. That sounds like a positive, but you got all sad about it, bro.
That's good if you have clients.
That means that you're not ranking well.
I haven't discovered that.
Rankings. No, I'm sorry, Paul. I'm poking at you. Hey guys, how do you create a balance between brand guidelines and CRO? Example, or have tested in the past that a certain CTA color works better, but when you pitch it to the client, she declines because of the web's brand or theme. This is where personalization comes into play. But also, in the end of the day, even if you're customizing it by visitor, the business decision is going to take, especially if you're doing client work, the business decision is going to be more important to you in the long run.
I go with the client's word. You know, at the end of the day, to keep them, I mean, you've got to keep them happy to keep them paying. So that's sweating the small stuff, in my opinion. So I would just keep it their branding. So
just do it
now.
Just do it.
Go ahead, Alex.
And show your client. You hear me all right?
Yeah. And if you're going to go into like convincing them, go for it, dude. Because I think I know what you're going to say. Go for it.
What I was going to say is you could go back to the client. You could set up 2 pages and say, look, this is what you want. This is what you like. It's your branding. Here's what I think will convert better. What figures do you like better? Do you like?
If you have the data already, then put a report together and pitch the conversion. And if they don't accept it, at the end of the day, your job is literally to be a yes man, and keep that contract for you and your staff. So
it depends. If you're on commission as well, then you'll get paid more if the conversion is better, right? So
yeah, it depends on what type of client it is. I mean, if it's commission based, then I would give pushback. But if it's a straight, client relationship where they pay you to do content and build links, then I
do that. Yeah. Sometimes they give me a commission every month. So if I get a certain amount of visitors to their website and a certain amount of conversions, I take a bonus from that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's important that
at that point, I would bend their arm a little bit more. Yeah.
That's what I do in my contract.
With your muscles, dude.
I have muscles. Oh, he's got muscles. Oh yeah, well he's a wrestler, isn't he?
I used to have muscles. I don't know where the fuck.
I lost them. I stopped working out for like 10 plus years, and then I was like, I'm gonna die early if I don't get something turned around.
You're gonna die early just because you're in trouble with God.
Well, the shorter people live longer, don't they? So I
don't know, dude.
It should be good.
I feel like my heart's gonna die every day.
Oh, Kevin Hart.
When you see me and it starts,
it gets too fast, especially when I'm sitting here with you 3 strapping young lads. How old are you, Craig?
40, man.
Me too. Good.
So
am I the youngest?
34.
Brad's young.
I'm 34, yeah.
I'm 33. Oh, I am the youngest.
You're the youngest, yeah.
I'm not.
You look the oldest.
Huh?
You look the oldest.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah, by far. Yeah.
I look in my early 20s. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I act in my 17s.
High school still, dude.
Yeah.
Great.
Working at a Ferrari dealership on the weekends.
It's the glasses. Yeah, it's the Ferrari. It's the Ferrari hat.
Yeah.
It's what does it.
Yeah. So if it were a Porsche hat, you'd look older. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
While we have you on, Alex, market research, because I'm a big fan of SEMrush tools. I love the competitive tools there. I don't know, Craig, do you use them a lot or what? Or have you used them a lot? Love them, dude. I love the reports you can build, especially coupling with Data Studio. Now that they actually support Data Studio, it's sick, dude. Like I used to have to do that all manually, and now I'm loving it. So
I remember hopping on with Mike when he was trying to do it manually, and we were trying to figure something specific out. I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck. He's like, oh, here it is. It looks good, right? I'm like, yeah, it looked horrible. But that's awesome.
I like that quote, 38 digital market. It's going to keep that one. That's what I told Brad, yes. All right, Alex, back to market research. So when you're going into an e-com situation, or realistically any situation, how are you identifying your competitors? Because it's an SEO thing, you know. There's SEO, there's marketing in general. Like I want people in the audience to start thinking about, like, really, how are you identifying competitors? Because I know what I'm looking for, so I'm interested in what other people are looking for.
The first thing, and I say this because I'm just launching a new supplement brand in the UK, right? So this is the perfect timing for that question, because I've been trying to find a brand name that doesn't hold me into one particular set of products. So for instance, if I'm doing CBD and I call my brand name bigcbd.com, then I'm only going to sell CBD stuff. But what I've realized now is we've just set up a supplement brand that's a name that is like something labs instead, and we're selling CBD, which allows us to expand ourselves into other products in the future. So what I recently done is I was looking at all these CBD brands, and they're all very, very specific, like Hempora and Pure Canna and all these brands that are the big ones in the UK. You probably know Pure Canna is the USA brand, but they got a UK one that they're creating at the moment. And their branding's spot on. So the first thing I look at is brand. I look at their branding and traffic. So if I and their brand traffic. So if I'm going to SEMrush, which I know Mike likes SEMrush because of all the clustering stuff, and you can build keyword clusters and stuff with their tool. But I look at the brand traffic, because if I know that someone's searching for that, then they've already covered the, if you want to call it, the quality score that Google's looking for. And that's the first thing I look for, traffic, brand.
So when I'm specifically, so I think I do that as a general whole, but when I'm specifically looking at the SEO campaign, I am looking for traffic growth most of the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking for who's growing quickly. Those, yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I think everyone here has probably touched this market quite a bit at some point. And
anyone in here watching the newest season of Shameless? They're doing all the CBD brownies, and like the pot brownies and stuff like that. Like Frank is making them this year. Not the spoiler alert, but anyway, it reminded me of everyone. Yeah, everyone in our market. Yeah.
So
traffic growth, Mike.
I'm looking for growth. I'm looking for volume and growth a lot of the time, because there's the strategy that I'm looking for, especially. But it goes back to what you're doing. If I'm working a branding campaign, I am going to be looking at that as well. However, there's some deceiving aspects in looking at, I think, a company that's been around for years and years when you're a newer company. And there, when you can find the newer companies that are, within the last year that have massive growth, and take a look at what they're doing right there, it's pretty amazing. But that can be found looking for the brand as well. So it's not that
for me, it's like we have a lot of companies in the UK. Like there's a company called Holland & Barrett that Craig might know about, which is just they sell products all sorts. Yeah, exactly. They don't just sell one particular product. And they're number 2 in Google for CBD oil, right? In the UK.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not a CBD product. They're not a CBD company specifically. So
it's like Johnson & Johnson to a lesser extent.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're looking for competitors and brands, you're sort of looking at what are the most specific niche down companies that are only selling CBD versus companies like Holland & Barrett, which sell literally every supplement on the planet, but they have a particular page on the website that is selling CBD. And so I have to make that comparison of what is a massive authority site versus a smaller e-com site. So that's something that I do, and I do it all in the spreadsheet. So I see what
and realistically, I really do find that the SEMrush, I'm not trying to pitch SEMrush because I don't make any money for talking about them, but I really do like the way they pull out their competitor. Their competitive analysis tool really does do a good job of finding those quick winners.
That's good if you've got a client too that you're trying to sell, because they know all those brands anyway. So if you're trying to sell a client, you just show them a list of their competitors, and they're like, shit, yeah, we want to build, we want to beat out all these guys. Yeah. Here's the traffic that's possible. We're going to take all their traffic, group it together. That's going to be your traffic, is how I've sold in the past.
Yeah, and sometimes when I'm trying to create a brand, I know I'm looking like EMDs and various things because people are already typing in stuff like what's that? Already typing in CBD into Google. So if you've already got it in the name of your brand, you're already going to be, you got to look at those sorts of things. So do other brands have the keyword in the name of their brand, or are they like Holland and Barrett, which literally has nothing but the name of a brand that could sell absolutely anything in it as well? So,
well, it's also a good method to look, like, honestly, you can use what you're talking about right now and go the typo traffic route. And I mean, it's a little bit shadier to take a brand name and basically take the misspelling and register that. Like, they will cease and desist, they will come after you. But if you know how to hide yourself, if you know how to hide what you're doing, there is traffic in typo domains. There is type in traffic.
Yeah. I just went the route of having a name of a brand that was completely different. It had no, I could tell anything I want on it. To be fair, that was something.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you make, say, Google.com, and one of the largest searches in Bing is Google, right? And if there is volume on your competitors, it's definitely worked for me in the past to
3-0
register typos and to take that traffic.
Yeah. That's one
You're
thing.
calling yourself out, bro.
Yeah, well, there's loads of stuff in Holland. It's really expensive though. My God. But hey.
What do you think about, like, I know you're a big ecom guy, when like having the Holland and Barrett type of domain, the whatever your brand name is, like johnsonandjohnson.com. So you've got that core domain, and then to kind of cover up more of the rankings, grab some of those PMDs, EMDs, throw them up with your, some content. Doesn't have to be great content at that point if it's not directly tied to your brand, essentially becoming your own affiliate. Do you do the network type stuff, or do you stick with just laser focusing on the larger umbrella brand for the larger site?
I create sort of, if you want to call them PBNs, but mini nets, whatever. But I create things like CBD recipe sites, so food recipe sites.
Pulling a massive amount of traffic.
Yeah, and how to make CBD pizza and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. CBD infused pizza, and then put recipes on there, and then you can put your ads down the side. So I build a lot of sites like that to surround the brand to get as much of that other intent-based traffic. I built that before I even start the new brand website. So as soon as a client will pay me and say, I've got this new website, I want you to build for me, that would be the first thing I would do, start building that, because it takes a while to settle, right? Especially if it's a brand new. Unless it's expired domain and I have some history, blah, 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 and a different crawler and stuff, the old progressive and incremental crawlers that Mike likes to discuss. But most of the time it has to sit there for a good 6 to 8 weeks. And usually by the time the actual website's ready and ready to launch, that site's already going to pass as soon as I put a link on. And then I get sort of,
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because Brad and I have been talking about it a lot lately. A lot of the software stuff we're working on now, a lot of the way we market, we're actually doing a webinar on Thursday in NFG Monthly that is directly around that type of marketing, along with the single on-site stuff. So it's all definitely part of the same strategy. And I like that you said 6 to 8 weeks, because I thought you were going to say 6 to 8 months, and I'm like, it doesn't. It's 6 to 8 weeks is pretty quick in the scheme of things to generate traffic for a lot of people out there when they think about it. But that is a realistic time frame. You really can generate exponential amount of traffic within weeks when it comes to organic SEO. And the thing about these, like building these network sites that you're talking about, whether you're just doing advertising or you are using personalization and retargeting to start the brand messaging from that kind of touch point, is that you have the opportunity not only to generate. I know you were talking about PBNs earlier in your Q&A, Craig, and you were spot on when you were talking about people. They discredit PBNs because, yeah, we can call it a PBN, we can call it a mini net, but it's really just another website that's generating traffic for your campaign. And there's many things you can do with that traffic at that level, for sure.
Yeah.
I
do sponsored by ads. So my own CBD brand or supplements brand will sponsor this website. So you can buy the products from my website to create all your recipes and all your food from my CBD.
Oh yeah, there's very different levels of transparency and different lines you can walk on that. Because you can go black hat with it. You can stay completely white hat. You're a little gray with what you're talking about, but you can make satellite sites. We do that for larger companies and larger brands all the time. I mean, very easy to say, I own this, the publisher network or whatever, and I own this website, and this is an informational site my brand has for people that need this, and then talk about your products and compare it to other things. Now, there's a lot to be said about taking advantage of the permissive marketing and the infinite media industry we're in right now, because when people are hearing it from other people in their situation, that really hits their context of like being on social media and looking for information. So that does help convert, I think, more so than when it is just an informational brand until you're much larger. Once you're much larger, then it's more it might be, I wouldn't even say it is all the time, more effective to own that on the other level as well. But where we all are, I think it's usually more beneficial to have a third party talking about us and to generate that social proof, basically.
CBD Cakes brought up traffic. One of the easiest ways to get traffic in almost any market is I use Ahrefs. I think you can use SEMrush, whatever. You go to their news section or their content section, and you find all these news articles, and then you just throw those into your auto blogger that just mass generates content. You can have content writers do it if you want something a little bit more presentable, but just mass, you're pumping out multiple articles a day, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever your server can handle. And it's all news related to CBD, or all news related to mortgages, or all news related to whatever. And it's just pumping out those. So you set up, you could start with one, but I would set up, 5 or 10 of them. And then there's just auto publishing, building it. And like you said, 6 to 8 weeks later, boom, they pop. And I mean, if you attach a social fortress, whatever you want to call it, social network around it, then it makes it that much better, so that's how to pull in traffic in virtually any niche, in my opinion.
The content type, when you
news.
take a step further too, like what we're going to talk about in NFG for the next month or two, is literally the best type of content you can use to generate content for automatic ranking and automatic websites. And it's interesting that we had a question the other day. People that have known us in the past are like, well, you used to do, it was a great question. You used to do a lot of mass page sites. And the answer to that is they're asking us questions about mass page sites. But realistically, when you understand SEO as it is today, 500 to 1,000 words can do the same thing that a 1,000-word website was able to do in the past. So there was a patent last month that was granted. It's not that old for the filing either. It's not like a 2015 or anything. And it talks about this, and it shows exactly why it's very important to take this methodology in your content building and your cluster building going forward, because it's very eye-opening on the capabilities that Google actually has, and it's not as much as people think. But back to what we were talking about.
I think Craig was going to say something about the content. Yeah.
What I was going to say is, for anyone who is watching this, Brad, and doesn't know what auto blogging is or auto content is, what plugins are you using for that?
We used to use Serpex quite a bit when we were partnered with them. Mike, what are we using now?
Right now, we have some custom stuff, but that's one of the things we're going to go over actually in NFG Monthly, Craig. So I think that the public ones that are available right now, if I was to go out and buy something, you can do a hell of a lot with WP Robot. And I know people like to bash on WP Robot, dude, but it's been around forever. It works extremely well. And when you understand content and what works, which honestly, like, just when you're thinking of content and you want to create auto content, we'll just cover this really quick. And the best thing you can do is look at what's already ranking. Take what's already ranking and repurpose what's already ranking for yourself and use that to rank, because you know
content is what he's saying.
Yeah. You know that they love the content you're using. So WP Robot has many ways to do that. There's a question in here about Amazon. WP Robot covers Amazon modules and things like that. So you can mash up some really solid content. Anything that you can create automatic content with, any curation type plugin, realistically, anything
pulling
that
RSS feeds. Yeah. Do you remember the RSS feed like grabber that we were using, Mike? I can't remember what there was a odd combo of those. Yeah.
I don't know.
It was just mashing up RSS feeds. And
what works really well right now is just we're leveraging AI and even taking something like this is a quick method that someone could use. Go buy a bunch of private label articles on your topic and literally just throw them into one blog in a feed and just use an RSS mixer to pull all of that out and just use one blog as your content generation point. Put it on a subdomain. Don't let it index and just publish that all of that private label content that someone else wrote. And then have your websites pull with an RSS feed, a mashup of everything on there. Just take the first paragraph of everything on there, put it together, and you will make content that works in the search, like without having to spin it. I don't like spin tax. There's paraphrasing and then there's spin tax, and it's a little bit different in my head, and we don't have time to go in it today. But I would say if you want to start auto blogging right now, just get yourself an RSS mixer, feed up a content seed subdomain that you're not indexing again, and just pull the content from there in mashups. And you have like a system that will cost you $10 where you could go find plugins that will cost you hundreds when you just did it for like nothing, right? So that's a very easy like bootstrap way to do it. Like that way you don't have to give anyone your money. Like that's what I used to do when I didn't have any money, is just do shit like that, you know? And if you're on it, I'm not going to say do this, but I was on lists in like 2002 and 3 and 4 where like people were just sharing wares and sharing content. So I was getting the content for free. I wrote a script to mash it up for free, and I had my one little generator site making the content being posted there and then pulling off that feed to generate my network. So it's a very sufficient way to generate a very cheap network, and then you're only paying for hosting and your domains, really. So
that was your splicing tool, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. It was just that splicer that I had up for a while back there when I wrote social.
On your domain name, yeah, I remember that one. And you used to use Yahoo Pipes, right, back in the day?
I did use Yahoo Pipes at one point.
I used to use that, yeah.
And like even honestly, like I'll throw more at this. FeedBurner's still out there. You can get backlinks from Google this way if you want backlinks from Google. Okay, so go up, throw that content up, feed the content from the seed generator into FeedBurner, grab the feeds from FeedBurner, and you're going to be pulling Google URLs. You're going to be pulling Google URLs, and you can feed that into the network, and you can feed out content through that redirect as well. So you're adding some trust from Google on it as well. So it works. I mean, it really does. But I wanted to get back to competitors. Once you've identified your competitors, man, what are you doing with that information once you know who they are?
So I spreadsheet it all out. So what I don't like to do myself is I usually just put as much data in a spreadsheet as I can, and I give it to VA to fix up for me, because we've got past templates that we usually use. And we get all the data. We don't just get data from SEO and Rush. We blend it with Majestic and Ahrefs as well from the competitor stuff. So I look at the TTF or trust flow of my competitors, and we just try and work out as much information as I possibly can, because then I can work out averages of what I need to do and what we need to spend more than anything to get the brand up there. Referring domains as well, I like to look at my competitors' referring domain count and see which of those referring domains are actually relevant and which ones are not to what I'm targeting. Because let's say Holland and Barrett, they're targeting all sorts of different products, not just CBD. So a lot of the referring domains are not going to be relevant to that particular website. So
would you just look at you wouldn't look at the entire website though, would you just, if you're doing CBD, wouldn't you just look at their pages that associate with CBD?
I'll look at other pages that are linked to that CBD page, because obviously those as well are passing internal juice, if you want to call it that. And it depends, because certain CBD things might be associated with other things as well on the web.
You want to take the cluster, and I was good to pull that out, because it's good for everyone in the audience to understand. You want to take the cluster into consideration in the internal architecture, like Alex is saying, because it all has to do with why it synergizes. Like some of the graphs we've looked at where we've got 1,000% growth in like 3 or 4 days. There's a backlinking portion internally and externally as well. And there's a very quick method that's going to work into 2023, I think, at least at this point, looking at where everything's going, that generates the right type of relevancy, both internally and externally. So it's very important when you're analyzing your competitor's backlink profile that you are looking at the internal structure as well as where what's pointing into the internal structure as well. You cannot forget about the site size. You cannot forget about anything like that, especially with the core that just happened. Some of the growth that we're seeing, some of the, I won't call it recovery, but the bounce back, the return of traffic that we're seeing as well for people that were hit, has a lot to do about removing certain things in a site-wide structure and doing certain things in a site-wide structure. So cores are not penalties. It's not like if you're hit, you did something wrong. Really, it's just like go forward. It might get fixed in a bit. It might fix right away. Just work best practices. And that's why it's important to have like simple best practices going forward. There's a question in there about someone being lost and what about plagiarism, because I did mention networks. Okay?
I say, what about it?
So it's true on your second tier and third tier, but on your first tier, yes. So if you're talking about a brand that you're building, you definitely do not want to go and just publish people's content without referencing.
Yeah, we weren't talking about primary money sites there.
Exactly. But if you do that, you can use the same concept on your own money site. It's very possible to build. There's a really big money site I know about that takes everyone's content, masses it up, and makes money with it, and their name is Google. And that's exactly what Google does. They steal your content.
They take snippets of content and then publish it to their site.
And they make money with it. And that's why they're they're getting worse and worse, and this is why they're not search anymore. They're zero-click environment where they're giving you the information on their website. You have to realize they're taking your content, building a page, and then giving the user information on their page instead of sending them to you. They're doing this exact thing.
They're charging for ads on their site.
It works. Yeah. It makes money. Google is the perfect case study of why it works and why it makes money. So why not just do what Google's doing and emulate what Google's doing to make money, because they do a good job of it. So they do cite everyone. They're not stealing technically because people can click and go, but they sure as hell are getting creative on how to make sure people don't go to your website. So take that and use that in your money sites. Don't do it in the way we're talking about. Do that a little differently on tier one. I hope that helps. Twitter's a great way to do it. We used to run a lot of traffic through the Ticos.
Yeah. What about people pulling Twitter for CBD type stuff? What are your thoughts?
Me?
Anyone? Yeah.
I think any content that you can pull in is solid as hell. Especially.
No, I think when he says pulling, he means they're taking it down.
Oh, they're taking it down.
Yeah, they're pulling CBD content.
Terms of service is terms of service. If you want to get around terms of service, you have to get creative. I mean, there's CBD you can run ads on Facebook, and there's CBD you can't. So we're going to have this conversation about terms of service again. If you're not reading your terms of service everywhere, then you are missing opportunity, most likely.
Yeah, I miss a lot of opportunities because I'm not reading terms of service. I just
read the fine print and put the pixel up.
Yeah,
we just worked around that by having a landing page in between. So we got away with putting a picture of a CBD product on there, but not calling the actual H1 or title anything with CBD, because we iframed it in after we got the page approved.
Yeah, there's many tricks you can use. That's a little bit harder than doing certain things, but yes, it does work. You don't even have to go that far if you understand the terms of service. There's things.
We were testing it because we're doing a number.
Oh no, it's a good thing. I mean, that has a lot of implication on ranking. It has a lot of. It's an iframe. It passes juice both ways. There's a lot of implication there for many factors in a campaign. I agree.
Yeah, the iframe was the full page iframe, so it's technically cloaking what we were doing in that sense. But we switched it on and off depending on what But so far so good. But that's one way of doing it. With the competitor research,
that's a very unsafe way of doing it if you're thinking about doing this for a major brand. Like, just going to say this really quickly. If you're going to iframe things in that are against terms of service, then you need to have a very good database when it comes to your approver, your affiliate managers, when it comes to your paid traffic as well. Because the people that are approving it, if you're not gathering them beforehand with certain technology in certain ways, then it's very easy to if you're doing this on the tier 1, I would say it's not a great way to do it. If you're doing it on the tier 2, you go ahead and run with it. But you want to be safe with your technology. But you're also still passing value in the SEO there, dude. So, I mean, the traffic that you're sending there is actually very beneficial. So
it is. I mean, the Facebook lands on the landing page, and then the landing page shows what we want it to show. But it also passes juice or traffic metric, if you want to call it that, directly onto whatever we're iframing in. So for us, it's like you'd be manually reviewed by Facebook. You go remove the iframe, and then you get it reapproved. And then you put
capture their IP when they visit to approve you, and then use that to deliver directly after the fact.
You can
you're going to get safer with that.
Yeah.
So I would recommend doing it that way.
In that niche is just what you have to do if you really want to be able to get away with ads. I mean, you can do it cleanly. I mean, topicals.
That's my point. Is there's CBD you can run ads for, and there's CBD you can't run ads for. So you can compete without cloakers. However, people making a lot of money in the space are definitely utilizing technology to do that, because it just makes sense. Now. So once you build your data for your competitive research, are you going after the campaigns that they're running? What are you doing with that data once you have it all in front of you and you're looking at it, bro?
I build a plan. So I'm going to go step by step on what I'm going to do, in what order I'm going to do it. Because otherwise I'm going to be all over the place, because all the data is going to be shoved in my face, and I'm just going to go, I'm just going to say. So I just build a plan. I use a Trello board usually. Or even just my whiteboard right here next to my desk. I might make a plan just on there for starters on what I'm going to do first of all. And I always build the pages out in comparison with my competitors, because Google still pays attention to, they're looking at the top 5 results in Google or top 10 results in Google and saying, right, he's ranking because he's using this, and this. He's also ranking because he's using this and this. And so I'm looking at sort of like what I need to do, and then I just literally copy them, to be honest. And then once I've created the pages that are technically the same, the structure's the same because they're already ranking. Why would I want to try and do anything different? And to be honest, Google are using their competitors to rank your website, not the other way around anyway, most of the time. Because there was I remember that pattern that you shared years ago, Mike, with cognitive SEO, where they were looking at comparing the content from the top.
Yep.
And they were pretty much using other people's websites content to gauge some form of score, if you want to.
It's definitely quality score. It's definitely content score, and they are looking at what's already there. And to be able to be included in that group, you're 100% correct. You need to be along those lines for that market. That's why you can't just blanket say this is how you do SEO in this market, this is how you do SEO in that market, because it's not the same.
Sure. I mean, once I've matched my competitors, and that's what I do first of all, and I've started to rank, I might add other things in that they don't necessarily have on their page, but only once I've gone past the point where I feel that I've done all I can. So, because I think, I don't know, there seems to be 3 levels to the way I do things. I will get my page to appear maybe on page 2 to begin with, dependent on the competitors and so forth. And then for some reason, I will see it then drop to page 5, and then it will drop to the bottom of page 2. And I've seen that consistently on the last 3 sites that I've ranked in that exact specific order. And that's without sending links, that's just sending traffic. So the traffic seems to hit the site, and then it bounces, and then it comes back. And then once the traffic started to come to those pages where I start link building campaign, always traffic first for me. So for traffic,
how are you running paid ads? What are you doing? Are you gaming it? Are you botting? What are you talking about?
Well, dependent on the niche. If we're talking CBD, then I'm doing push ads. So I'm just doing image push ads because that one I can approve with little images that
Yes.
with mobile phones, and we can get thousands of people coming to the site, and then we can obviously filter those out as well inside the campaign that I'm using. We're using Run Active for that. If people want to use push ads, Run Active is what we're using.
Can you spell it out for people in the audience?
And Mike?
I'm going to have to Google it just to make sure I spell it correctly, but it is literally Run Active or Runative. There it is, yeah, Run Active. Yeah.
Runative?
Run Active.
Like additive, but runative.
I'll write it in the chat. Here we go. Yeah, these guys are easy to get approved as well. You do get bombarded by their affiliate team a lot of the time, but you do that in anything that you're, especially if your account runs out of balance, they never leave you alone. Are you going to top it up? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? I'm like, I'll top it up when I'm ready to top it up.
Mm-hmm.
When my budget matches what that is. Oh, when will that be? You don't want to lose your account. You're not going to close my account down. I've spent so much money with you guys. So I'll do that unless it's a niche that I'm not going to have any issues sending Facebook and Google ads straight to the page without going through all this grey hat manipulation to try and get it going.
Yeah, it's not worth the game unless it's worth the game, honestly. That's a weird roundabout way to say it, but there's times when it's worth it, but most of the time I've found, Brad and I will be jumping into a campaign and someone's like, let's do this or that, and it just seems like way too much freaking work for the return,
Yeah, I mean,
especially in the beginning of a campaign.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
At the beginning of the campaign, exactly. I mean, as soon as I start getting the spike, I'll start coming in with links. So, look, I don't really. This is the one thing I don't really pay attention to my competitors' links that much. I don't really care.
No, I don't either.
I just literally will do what I feel. I'm usually max out around 5 per page. I think, to be honest, tier 1 links, that is.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't, some of my clients might have 20 links, and people were saying to me, "Oh, you need to get 20 links to beat them." Half their links aren't even relevant, to be fair.
No, and those come anyways. I mean, that's the point. We talk about it all the time. You control a few ports. The way you get away from all these issues with percentages that people whine about a lot is that you control 4 or 5 links, and you craft those to be the ones you want, and you craft everything behind it to be exactly what you need, and that's what you craft, and you let the rest of it happen naturally, because there you go, you have a natural link profile. The percentage starts to outweigh it, and by waiting, here's the thing. Remember when we were working in pharma together? Right? There's no reason for a web page to have a backlink pointing to it unless there's been visitors to that web page. And this is something that I think people forget. Why would there be backlinks to a web page if there's no traffic on a web page? That means no one has found it. So it's a very big flag that can be detected algorithmically. And that's why there's certain velocities and certain things that have been happening over the last week for the core that are working really well. And I've been telling people don't stop what you're doing because these patterns are they're very easy to observe if someone wants to observe them. Not saying that they're observed all the time, but it's good to emulate reality. What's up, Cam? It's good to emulate reality because Google is looking for it to be like a natural process. So if you're throwing backlinks at a page that doesn't have any traffic, then you might be doing something wrong. You might not, but you might be.
It's also, looking back, if a search term doesn't get searched for that much, why would you send so much traffic at it?
Oh, no, absolutely.
So, some of these local terms that might get 200, 300 searches a month, you're not going to go and send 600 Facebook traffic at it a month, right? Because you're probably going to get penalized for that in some way, somewhere down the line. It's the same with links. Why would you send 20,000 links to the page if only it gets 100 people visiting that page a month? So
you can do a lot of damage with a single link pointing to a page, to be honest with you. Yeah. That's why when people ask, I say I'm usually around 3 to 5 links a page. I mean, but that doesn't mean
me as well. I mean, I have maxed out on 10 in some occasions, but that was clearly attest.
But that's also not a rule. I mean, it's not a rule. If I need more links, I'm going to get more links.
It's not a rule, but whatever we did, it worked because every link had traffic coming through it. So at the end of the day, it looked natural to Google's eyes, and those search terms were massive as well. So it made sense. We were still lower than our competitors with the amount of links pointing at that page, but every link was so relevant. Guest posts all literally matched the keyword of the page I was targeting. So it literally was one-on-one, plus intent, of course, because these were hybrid intent pages that we were targeting, but we had specific intent-based guest posts or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Those. So my plan involves literally doing what I've just said about the traffic of the competitors, making sure that the traffic that I send at these pages to begin the campaign isn't over, doing it, maybe a quarter. So if a search term gets 500 a month, I might send 50 at it just to start off the campaign and then start coming in with some links. And so I plan all this in literally a spreadsheet of what I'm going to do. I don't bother with social media anymore. We used to love doing that. I just let that happen naturally. I would build, obviously, what Brad likes to do is to build the social fortress. I do that at the same time. But yeah, again, I will only do that once I've started to send traffic at the website, and then I'll build the social fortress. I don't know if you built the social fortress first, but I usually do it.
I always just do it. It's part of a site creation. If I'm going to build out an entity, I'm going to establish its profile for sure, because it's natural for a business to build a brand package and have social media created at the same time. So it doesn't matter to me, honestly. It's not a factor in my head. Like I said, it's going to happen naturally. If I want to publish to it, it's going to be created. If we're not going to publish to it, we're probably not even going to create it. The only reason we create stuff like that is to actually publish to it. I don't feel like a website has to have social media to actually do its job as ranking and pulling traffic,
Yeah, I think as well, because I would always set up a Twitter account. I think Twitter is my main social media platform off a campaign. And I would always tweet my own page at the same time as I'm pushing traffic.
Yeah.
And that, I think Twitter as well and IFTTT usually.
As far back as 2014, I was just publishing content and sending it to Twitter to rank. That's all I needed to do. And honestly, I would publish content for like a month and build like tweets to that. Every time it was published, build like 200 tweets, 200 freaking bookmarks. And that's all I would do. And then for a year, Google would continue to rank the site because they continue to find the edges from social media.
That's how Social Explosion was born, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what Social Explosion was. It was the indexer I built for Just Lust.
I still have a license to that with credit. What do I do?
I wonder if anyone's running it, because that network they killed pretty quickly once I sold it to them.
I still own it. I think I really ever used it because I used Social Adder for so long. I just did that, and there was another one out there as well, and I can't remember what it was called, like Sind or something.
There was
it worked exceptionally well. I mean, right after Mike sold it to him. I mean, I used it when they were still like the OMG and everything.
Still clean, and it was not cost effective from a retail situation. I was using it like to massive levels, but so there was a patent released last month that was granted last month that was requested in, I think, the end of 2018, and they granted it last month. And it's really eye-opening, even with passages coming out. It's really eye-opening on how basic Google is, essentially. And it shows with document selection that their signals are all shallow content signals. And so this Thursday, I'm going to do a selfless pitch, but it's free for everybody. This Thursday, we are going to be going over what we're doing with content on site. We're going to be talking about exactly how we build our clusters and why these types of things are working right now. And this patent truly backs it up. And this patent is really only based around finding news that's opinionated. Like, they're trying to determine what is opinion in the content. Like, so with passages, they're breaking it down. Like, can we trust this piece of this content? Is this opinion or is it not opinion, right? And they're using shallow content signals to find that. So basically, when I say shallow content signals, I'm talking about metadata. I'm talking about entities, basically salient terms, And essentially it talks about a lexicon. And I know that we've talked about lexicons here. We've talked about lexicons in private. But we're going to be going deep into why the lexicon is so freaking important in your on-page structure, and then move into the off-page structure, and in the next few weeks move into networks and shit as well. Am I missing anything there, Brad? I mean, I know that you have seen with the content, the way we've been shifting our mass page into individual content is working exponentially well for traditional campaigns now as well. I mean,
it's basically in a nutshell, your 2020 blueprint, is it not?
It's 2021 and 2022 and 2023. I mean, it's not going to change. Yeah. I mean, it'll change like it has, but since we haven't changed our SEO for 6 years or whatever, I do not see it changing anytime ever. Personally, the core concepts will work forever, but it absolutely is killing it into 2021, and to the point where I think there's a lot of money for people to save not spending time and money building like mass traffic sites, especially when you can do it in 500 words on a single freaking page. You know, what are you doing for your landers now for GMB? Are you doing mass traffic sites behind them anymore, or what are you building, Brad?
Me? No, I primarily I'll take an HTML template that I have made based on who they're sending paid ads to, all that stuff. So I'll take whatever looks best to me. A lot of those are dog crap, but I'll take that. I'll send it to my design guy, have him design it, and then have the content written up, run it through Cognitive, and then try and rank for as many terms as I can from then on. So yeah, that's it. And then I just switch out the geo as I do more GMBs from there. So
for the audience, if you do want to read it, it's machine learning to identify opinions in documents, and it was granted in November. It's kind of eye-opening, and I would recommend people read that. And if you don't want to read it, join us on like Thursday where we're going to talk about it in depth. I don't want to kill this with question and answer for people here. Brad, do we have a free freaking trial or anything so people can go do that for free?
Yeah, I've got one set up. nfgseo.com/7. That's the number 7, not spelled out. nfgseo.com/7.
Okay.
For anyone that's not in there. I think a lot of people on here are already on there, but anyone that wants to hop in, nose around, you get 7 free days. So.
All right. There is a question here from Saad right there. It's how do you guys outrank Amazon and eBay links that rank at the top for transactional keywords? I've read that you need to list your product on the Amazon and then optimize that. That's exactly what I would try to do. Is I try to outrank it internally anyways. I'm not going to go after trying to beat out Amazon myself personally. I don't know, Craig, would you try to beat Amazon in the search?
I think you can over time. I would still, if you're going to have a product out there and you've got good enough margins on there that you can sell it on Amazon, then why not have it on there? Because that's a search engine in and of itself. And then you circle back and you push it up onto the first page of the SERPs. Worst case, you're going to have it on Amazon. You're going to have it on your own website and maybe some other places too.
What are your thoughts, Craig? You have any input there?
I think you can obviously outrank Amazon over time, but if you can use that platform as a way to do that, then why not? Why wouldn't you do that first? But I'm exactly the same as Brad. You would probably circle back, and over time, Amazon are not specifically going out and doing heavy-duty SEO on a lot of these terms. So a lot of affiliate websites can rank in their own right over and above Amazon over a period of time when you're building up your domain authority and whatnot. And essentially, you want that click-through rate and engagement on your website rather than on Amazon's as well, just to help everything else. So that's the way I look at it anyway.
I think the good way to look at it, we're talking about lexicons. The good way to look at it is to build a page. And if you're doing this in a network or a tier, it could be a tier 1 page, a tier 2 page. Build a page that's optimized for a huge lexicon that's pulling in long tail traffic that references Amazon. But the first thing you want to do is make sure that the term you're talking about, you are converting for in Amazon. You do not want to rank your Amazon listing in the SERPs for something you're not converting for. Just always keep that in mind. But maybe go after like a huge set of keywords on your page or a page that you control and drive your conversion there. might be a good way to go forward. Anyone ever built links to product listings? Yes, we've done it.
Massive amounts of links to it. Back in the day when GSA was still popular and working, what I would do is I would take my Amazon product, grab the link, cut it down to like the shortest version of the link, because you can get a couple dozen different variations of that, and then just load it into GSA and slam it for about anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, and you can rank. I ranked one of the largest search volume keywords I had like multiple listings on for was penny boards, which is those little plastic skateboards, the kids can throw it in their backpack and shit. And I think it got at the time 165,000, somewhere in there, 160-ish thousand a month. So my client had a product, and then I put together just an auto blog that I used as like a PBN. So I called it like a PBN, or not PBN. What did I call it? Penny Board Mania or something like that. Yeah, I didn't call it PBN Mania. So Penny Board Mania or something like that. So I built out the auto blog shit, and then I linked over from that. And then that one was ranking as well, because I had Social Explosion on that. So the DA bumped up to like 30 within a few months. But yeah.
So one of the things that we had to deal with when we were doing a lot of Amazon was that we had to write software that would analyze the canonical and make sure we were building links to the right place, because
they will switch out your canonical too if they think you're doing too much link building, which was an issue as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of consideration with Amazon. It's definitely not my area of expertise. I'm definitely out of date with it by a few years, a couple years, and it's just not. I'm focusing internally on Amazon because Amazon is its own search engine. I really don't care about.
Any idea where they rank in search engines? It's Google, YouTube. Are they? I mean, they've got to be up there, right?
Yeah, they are. They're one. They're like
top
way
5
up.
At least. Yeah.
They're the top. I mean, I think that stats. I saw the stats like recently, and they're like when it comes to commercial queries, I think they're as close or beating Google or something.
When it comes to commercial queries, yeah.
But I honestly, focusing internally, like it's a very interesting algorithm. We've been focusing on books, and there's reasons to be in rental situations with them. There's just so much as a search person now. Like I really recommend finding the markets, like whatever market you're in, finding the search engines that are large for those markets and learning those algorithms are actually really important at this point, because of the way infinite media works, where people are using their assistants, their personal assistants, and their devices to shop, to answer questions constantly. It might not be Google you need to be optimized for, and people tend to get focused on Google because we love Google. It's got the most of the traffic out there, and it's fun to dick with. But when you look at things like Amazon, there's other like book-related search platforms. So depending on what market you're in, you want to find those little platforms. I mean, we've done it for like IMDb for actors and actresses before. Like we've gamed the IMDb database to bump up actors and actresses.
When you were in the adult industry?
That was it. That was me.
Yeah.
It was me. I'm the actor.
Yeah, you are a chocolate chip. Yeah.
And the actress, though.
Yeah. There's a solo scene. So.
But I mean, I think we're almost out of time. Did we miss any questions that were there? I don't think we.
A quick thing about Amazon too is if you want to rank Amazon in Google, because we Mike and I have gotten this question a couple thousand times over the years. Take a look at what the Amazon ranking, what product is ranking out of Amazon in Google. Take a look at that. Last time I looked, because we used to have a bunch of clients, and then you just get tired of dealing with clients, but we used to have a bunch of clients that worked with Amazon. If you look at where the links are coming from and everything, I noticed, and this might send some people down rabbit holes, grab affiliate links and send links to those, because that's that'll help boost you. Because if you think about it from like a PR perspective, if you've got a product and everyone's becoming an affiliate for that product, then they're going to link back to it with their affiliate link, and that looks completely natural, and that'll keep you kind of under the radar but still boost you up. So look at those affiliate links, stuff like that. Look at the alternative links that'll still canonical over to the primary page. What was getting us in trouble by hammering that one link over and over and over, it was the quickest way to pop it, but it's kind of obvious. So go kind of the roundabout way and that stuff. And that's where the content distribution networks and stuff like that come into play. Is you've got those, you post your affiliate link on those. Like if you got a CBD feeder site that's just always pumping out content, you put an affiliate link on that one and you can get a boost from that. So
yeah. All right, I guess people are getting free money in the Facebook chat.
Just block that person.
Yeah, that's pretty spammy. That was NFG.com 7, Brad, for the webinar.
NFGSEO.com/7.
NFGSEO.com/7. I think we're going to say goodbye for the year, aren't we, Craig?
Yes, that should be it for the year, because I think next week people will be winding down. I know a lot of people are closing up on Friday, so we might as well wrap it up until the new year. So we will come back in the new year. But yeah,
unless something bad happens on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't need that kind of negative energy out there, Mike. So
yeah, right. Exactly. No, I meant for me.
Yeah, that's what I meant too. Nothing bad's gonna happen to me.
You love me.
Yeah.
Everyone, hey, I hope the year is finishing out freaking like profitable for everybody. Everyone's got growth. Craig, growth. Everyone, growth. I
grew in 2020. Yeah.
Oh, no, hype-wise. The URL. Can you drop the URL either on screen or in the chat for Paul? Craig, do you mind? I think it's nfgseo.com/7.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. I hope everyone is going to have a profitable end of the year. I hope it's a growth year for everybody.
Yes. Have a good one, everyone. And we'll see you next year. But
thanks.
Yeah, check out this while you can, and check out BYS. And Merry Christmas, Phil, and a Happy New Year to everyone else out there. We will
keep the change, you filthy animal.
Can't get it right.
Got some good stuff next year, so this will be fun.
Oh, there it is.